visionary writer-director, Leigh Whannell. Thank you so much and welcome to the Foyer.
Truly a visionary. You know, that's
Truly
just,
a visionary.
I need to be greeted that way every time I enter a room. Here's the visionary.
Yeah, there's an auspiciousness. I'll be ringing the bell in the town square, absolutely.
Flower petals down on the floor.
This is a very surreal moment. My partner and I created the podcast in 2019. Upgrade was our third ever review episode. It's terrible audio, don't listen to it.
Okay.
But we love your films. And,
thank you.
I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Thank you.
Your films are very buzzy. People love to talk about it. There are delicious visual shots. But what I really love about your films is the groundedness that you bring. There's sci-fi, there's technology. Even in Wolfman, we've got some very fun lore and mythology. But there's so much heart in what you do. Is that where you start your narratives and then you build out the world, or are you just a heart-feeling person?
I think I am a very sentimental person. You know, I'm an easy cry. You know,
Love a good cry.
Exactly. I think that it really depends with a story. You never quite know what the first building block would be. You know, people only see the finished Lego structure, but it starts with that brick, that one brick. It could be it could be something more technical. You know, like a man has a chip in his neck and can suddenly walk. And that's where you start it, and then you start adding the emotion. Like, who is this person? Why? Who has robbed him of his ability to walk? You build outwards, or it could go the other way in and be like, you're feeling something. You know, there's this thing in the world, I'm sure you've noticed, where reality feels off. Everybody's getting their own version of the truth from different sources these days. It's fractured, and that's something that's on my mind. So I've been thinking recently, is there a movie here in something? So that would be an example of going the opposite way. So it really depends from project to project.
Yeah, it's very much, you see this, right? Like, that's going on there.
Yeah, if something's bothering you, that's what's so cathartic about art. If something's really bothering me, you want to express it, and you got to build outwards from that. And then other times, it's just a little germ of a story idea will pop into your head, and you have to find the emotion. Like, okay, fine, I have a story idea, but what's it really about? You know, so it really depends.
Genre's a genre, but horror is the genre. Horror is that gal.
You're right,
And you are the king of the dominion of horror. And it's essentially like bringing the heart to it. I don't know if you want to take this or accept this, but I very much feel like your films have like a paranoid protagonist that has a heartbeat, you know? A lot of the times it's justified, especially in Invisible Man, for example. But there's very much a heart and a core to everything that you do. And Wolfman, it's so interesting when you watch the OG 1941 coming to this one, because even at the very amazing IMAX screening where you did the intro, you were talking about trying to do something different, and it still has those threads of masculinity, of what it means to find your way in this world, maybe less pagans, but
exactly.
How was it tackling, I guess, Wolfman with real world sort of feelings and then melding that into lore? Does it feel like we traverse different worlds, or is it all one line?
You know, I mean, the real world feelings you're talking about, usually you're basing it off something in your own life. You know, that's the artistic thing, is like, this concerns me, this hurts me. And so the first draft was written during COVID. I co-wrote Wolfman with my wife, and we were just feeling so isolated, so cut off. It was very frustrating trying to keep 3 young kids happy when we couldn't leave the house. All the pressure and anxiety and frustration of that time, it all went into the screenplay. I think that's why the film ended up becoming a story about 3 isolated people, this family. There's a disease at the door. You know, it felt reflective of that time. So I feel like I always have to put my feelings in there. I also base everything on a feeling. Like, you keep mentioning this word heart, and like I like that. If you said, you know, your films have a heart, there's real heart there. It's not clinical, it's not cold. There's a heart there. I love that, because my way into a movie is I often use music, but I imagine the movie before I write it. So I'm actually trying to watch the film and evoke. And the things that I respond to is always emotion. Like if I get scared, or if I think something's funny, or if I make myself cry. That I can, if I'm listening to music and I'm picturing a scene in a movie that I'm about to write and it's making me cry, I get really excited, because I'm like, well, if I'm feeling emotionally, chances are if it affects you emotionally, it's going to affect someone else. You know, we all have such common things in our lives. You know, I'm not the only one who was frustrated with kids during COVID. I'm not the only one who felt cut off from society. You started a podcast. That was your response to well, you started it before COVID, but I'm sure it was healthy and cathartic for you to have something to do.
Yeah, it gets a bit mindless in this office drone life, but you know,
I know,
some
exactly.
days Leigh Whannell.
So the heart comes from me making myself feel a certain way, and then trying to give that feeling to the audience, trying to pass it on to a crowd.
Well, I would love to give my heart to your wife as well, because it was a unit film, and I think a lot of the love, especially grief, which unfortunately we don't have time to tap into, but I love the way that you focused on it, because there is a finality, but grief is ongoing as well, and we continue to feel it. And I'm so sorry we don't even get time, but I'll hold my feelings and share it somewhere else, Leigh.
Oh, good.
But in the premiere, the Sydney premiere, you talked about the Full Moon Film Club. So that's probably a cheat code for our final question. We finish off our reviews with a recommendation. So what would you pair with Wolfman as a double feature?
Oh, that's good. Like, in terms of the Full Moon Film Club, a double feature, I'll give you two. One would be one good one that we watched in the Full Moon Film Club in pre-production. We watched Blue Valentine, and I had forgotten what a great depiction of a relationship. If you want a depiction of disease that's heartbreaking without the horror element, Amour is a good one. Amour is one of those movies where you watch it and at the end you're like, not sure I have to watch that again. It's a tough watch. Horror-wise, I would pair it up with The Fly. If I went and saw a double bill of Wolfman and The Fly, I'd be very excited.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Really nice to talk to you.
Cheers.